All right, so forget everything you think you know about modern Formula One. Seriously, we are on the brink of this monumental shift, a total and complete reset of the entire sport. And it all comes down to one single massive year.
Yeah, this is not just a little tweak to the rules. No way. 2026, this year represents one of the biggest technical revolutions in, the 70-plus year history of Formula One. It's like a clean sheet of paper, for every single team on that grid.
And look, when I say everything, I mean everything. The cars, different. The engines, totally new. The aero, the teams, and yeah, most importantly, the actual racing we see on track, it's all about to be completely, utterly redefined. Okay, so how do we even get our heads around this thing? Well, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. First, we'll look at why this reset is even happening. Then we'll get into the fun stuff, the wild new cars, and the kind of racing they're going to bring. After that, we'll unpack the engine controversy that's already brewing. We'll look at all the new teams and big driver moves. And finally, we'll check out the very first clues about who's already ahead and who's falling behind.
All right, first up, F1's Great Reset. So why are they doing all this? What's the point? Well, the goal is pretty much threefold. 1, make the cars smaller and more agile. The FIA keeps calling them nimble cars. 2, engineer even closer, more exciting wheel-to-wheel racing. And 3, push the sport to a more sustainable future. We're talking 100% sustainable fuels. It's a huge opportunity to just completely reshuffle the entire pecking order. Okay, so now for the stuff you can actually see, the cars themselves. This is where all that theory hits the tarmac, right? We are looking at a brand new design philosophy, all aimed at creating a totally different kind of Grand Prix racer.
And this just shows you exactly what I mean. The 2026 cars are literally shrinking. The wheelbase is getting chopped by 200 millimeters, the width by 100, and this is the big one. They're 30 kilograms lighter. Now, I know, 30 kilos might not sound like a ton, but trust me, in F1, that is a colossal amount of weight to save. It's going to make these cars feel so much more agile and responsive on the track.
But honestly, the biggest change of all? It's the death of DRS as we know it. Yep, the drag reduction system is basically gone. In its place, we're getting something called active aerodynamics, and this is a total game changer. It's a system where drivers can manually change the angle of both the front and the rear wings during a lap, so they can switch between maximum grip for the corners and minimum drag for the straights. It's wild. Okay, so picture this, right? A driver's heading into a corner in what's called Z mode. The wings are angled up, giving them max downforce, max grip. Then, as they power out onto the straight, they hit a button to go into X mode. The wings flatten out, slashing the drag, and boom, they get this huge speed boost. But, and this is the key for overtaking, the car behind can use a manual override. It's an extra jolt of electrical power to help them attack, right as the car in front's own electrical power starts to fade at high speed. It's going to be a whole new tactical chess match on track.
All right, let's move under the hood, because the power unit, this is where things get really spicy. This new engine formula has already kicked off its first major technical controversy, and we haven't even seen a single race yet. So, what's so different here? Well, look at that power distribution. We are moving to a pretty much 50-50 split between the good old internal combustion engine and the electrical system. That super complex and expensive MGU-H, the thing that recovered energy from the turbo, that's gone. But the power you get from the hybrid side has almost tripled. That means managing and deploying that electrical energy is going to be more important than ever. But you know how it is in F1. New rules mean new interpretations. And it sounds like some of the top engine makers might have already found a really clever and maybe, just maybe, legal way to bend a key engine rule to their advantage. Okay, so here's the deal. The rules say the engine's compression ratio can't be more than 16:1. Simple enough, right? But here's the catch. That's measured when the engine is cold at around 20 degrees Celsius. So the rumor in the paddock is that teams like Mercedes and Red Bull are using these special metal alloys. When the engine gets up to its normal operating temperature, around 120 degrees, these alloys expand. This thermal expansion basically pushes the compression ratio back up, closer to the old 18:1 limit. And the payoff? It could be worth up to 0.3 of a second a lap. The FIA is already having meetings about it, but right now, it is the talk of the town. All these huge technical changes, well, they've acted like a giant magnet, pulling in massive new manufacturers and kicking off this insane game of musical chairs in the paddock.
the 2026 grid is going to look, well, very, very different. I mean, just look at these names flooding onto the grid. You've got Audi coming in as a full-on works team. The American giant Cadillac is joining as an 11th team. Ford is making this grand return, partnering up with Red Bull Powertrains. And Honda, who we all thought had left, they're back with an exclusive deal with Aston Martin. It's a massive injection of big-time manufacturer muscle.
And nothing really captures the human side of all this, the drama of it all, better than this quote from Lewis Hamilton. After his very first taste of the new Ferrari, he said it was a day that just reignites you. It just goes to show you the raw excitement and emotion behind these huge career gambles. And honestly, Lewis's move to Ferrari is just the tip of the iceberg. The whole grid is being reshuffled. You have the legendary designer Adrian Newey making a shock move to become team principal at Aston Martin. The new Cadillac team is going for experience, signing veterans Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. Red Bull's promoting their young gun, Isaac Hadjar. And Carlos Sainz, the guy Hamilton is replacing, is starting a whole new chapter at Williams. The entire grid is just in motion. So, with all this change, the million-dollar question is, who got it right? Well, the very first private shakedown test in Barcelona, which was held behind closed doors, gave us our first real clues about what the new pecking order might look like. And wow, this data tells a fascinating story. Just look at the laps completed. Mercedes, they were in a class of their own, over 500 laps. That is a phenomenal show of reliability right out of the gate. Ferrari was right there too, with a really strong 440. But then, look how the numbers just fall off a cliff. Down at the bottom, you've got Aston Martin with only 66 laps, and Williams, they didn't turn a single lap, not one.
So yeah, the takeaways from this are pretty stark. Mercedes looks absolutely bulletproof, right out of the box. Ferrari is looking really strong too, fast and reliable. But then you get to the really big concerns. Aston Martin, even with Adrian Newey's design genius, their car was just plagued with issues from that new Honda power unit. And then there's Williams. It's a complete crisis. Missing the first test entirely is a critical blow. It puts them days and days of real-world learning behind everyone else before the season even starts.
And so all of this leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Who has gambled correctly on this great reset? Sure, the early signs might point to Mercedes and Ferrari, but this is going to be a long, long game. The 2026 season will be a relentless development war, a race to see who can understand these revolutionary new rules faster and better than anybody else. The Great Reset has completely shuffled the deck, and we're only just seeing the first hand being dealt. So who really played their cards right? Well, we're all about to find out.